Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Peacemaker Season 1 review series. And today we are going to be talking about Episode 3, Better, Goff Dead. And we are joined once again by the legendary, the holiday Christopher Mace and Rex DeBoss 11 and yours truly, Warhawk Beyond 2040. How are you doing, guys?
No, hanging in there. Just like I said, still on vacation, so just trying to relax the best I can.
Good. How you doing, Rex DeBoss?
Hey guys, how's it going? Let's talk about Peacemaker Episode 3.
So we are going to be talking about Episode 3, Better, Goff Dead. So we're going to start with you first, Holiday. What did you think of this episode?
I thought this episode was pretty good. It showed a little. Like I said, you see how Vigilante wants to be accepted and wants to be part of that group that Peacemaker's in. You know, like I said, because Peacemaker, he's already told Peacemaker, you know, I'm your best friend, not them, blah, blah, blah. So he's trying to be nosy and see what they're all up to and stuff like that. And like I said, I did like this episode. You finally figure out, you got to realize with these shows, like it said, if you've seen the Suicide Squad movie, when they kept referring to everything, you know, they were being literal when they were saying, like, you know, this is a starfish kind of monster. Yeah, they were being literal. So you finally realized they were being actual literal about the whole butterfly thing. And it's like, oh, wow, they were actually being literally serious. These were actually butterflies. I thought this was a code name or something.
Yeah. Rex the Boss, what did you think of this episode?
Well, judging by the first episode, I'm totally in agreement with the holiday there. You would have actually have thought that the butterflies were, you know, possibly strippers, young women, etc., like that. You would have not actually have thought that they would have actually have turned out to be some kind of parasite that lives within the brain of the victim or the host. You know what I mean? But yeah, I enjoyed this episode, and I really thought that this is where you start to get some character building. The Vigilante stuff was eye-opening, funny, and also quite concerning at the same time. You know, when he's just standing there, like, and they're like, "We can see you. You know, you're right there." Like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not standing here. You can tell that this guy is just, he needs guidance and he needs leadership, but he also needs what I said in the previous review. He also needs this gratification and he's still seeking that. Whereas you can start to see in this episode here, this is where Peacemaker is starting to drift away from the I'm going to kill and then ask questions after, and he's starting to ask questions first, then kill, if you know what I mean. His actual inner you know, the man that's within him, maybe the Chris or maybe the Peacemaker that lives within him, is asking him questions of, look, what can I do this? Am I okay doing what I'm doing right now? Obviously, we'll get to what happens in the episode, but there are some testing moments for the Peacemaker in this episode.
I thought this episode was so far one of the best ones of this series. And, you know, like what you both said, that, you know, when you hear the name Butterfly, you know, the first thing you think of, oh, they must be dancers or strippers. But then you find out, like Rex just said, they're like these little living parasite-like creatures living inside human bodies. And, you know, over the course of this episode, we see what they actually do. And, you know, even like you said, Rex, that you see throughout this episode, Peacemaker is actually hesitant in taking a life, because you remember that, you know, before Peacemaker wasn't afraid to do things like that. But now all of a sudden it's like, oh, do I want to do this? Should I be doing this? You know, I'm supposed to be the hero, but here I am taking lives. And I thought that John Cena's portrayal in the emotional side of the Peacemaker character, I thought he did a really good job showing that that conflicting emotion. I thought that was really good.
I totally agree. And I also would add in there, because we're going to have to do this every single episode, of course, the moment where he's got the dilemma, where he's behind the sniper rifle.
Yeah.
I honestly sat there and sat forward and raised my eyebrows and immediately thought, what, they're going to have John Cena do this? Yeah. I actually, because and like I say, this is where it comes into it. If I'm thinking that, then any child who would ever come in contact with this program would immediately be thinking that. Which, you know, where does John Cena go from them? Where it's like, you're the type of guy now who, because the problem is I don't think fans would accept John Cena being that guy, even though we know he's playing a character in this. Like I say, these are 1 and 2 in the same for me. I wanted to see if John Cena would allow his character, his self to act in a role where he would do something so despicable. But obviously we know that at the end he bottles it at the end. But Vigilante obviously shows that he's a much more, like I said in the previous review, he's seeing this from a different place. We're not yet got them to sink in with the let's do this for the better of mankind rather than doing it for our egos and making ourselves feel great about it. Vigilante's right on the edge of that, whereas right on the far edge of that, whereas the Peacemaker's right next to thinking, I just want to be a nice guy and I want people to like me. You know what I mean?
Definitely, I agree. What was your thoughts, Chris, on Peacemaker's confliction with taking a life? How do you think that was handled?
I thought they did it. They did a really good job of it. Like I said, they built the episode up. You know, he's showing them the targets and stuff like that. And they had to have humor in that too, because they had to have Amanda Waller's daughter showing off her girlfriend's personal area and everybody too, and they try to have their funny moments there, and then all this other stuff. And he's like going, but I mean, that might be a butt baby. I don't know. That one kid looks all right. The other kid, that looks like a butt baby. You know, you've heard of butt babies. And they try to make it more comical at first until it came down to the situation where, you know, he's having to watch out for Judo Master too, which is, this is the thing is, we're not sure which incarnation of Judo Master this is, because in DC they've had 4 or 5 different versions of him. So we're not sure at this time which version of Judo Master this is, but it just, you know, he has to deal with that per character as well. You know, he's getting there. He wants his double piece on his gun. He's like, I'm supposed to have the double piece on there, and they're like, just draw one on there. And he's conflicted because he doesn't want to shoot these kids because he doesn't know why he's doing it. And that's where he's torn about. He doesn't know what's the reason for him doing this. Why is he doing this? And then it gets to the point where, you know, they had the moment with him and Hardigan. You know, they had that moment where she sees kind of like a human side of him and like a moment of weakness. And then she's like, well, I got to excuse myself here. Watch this for a second. I'll be right back. And you see Vigilante I'm just hiding. We know it's not a Bush talking. Get in here. But Vigilante was there just to say, all right, oh, don't worry, buddy. I got this. And then he just started shooting everybody instead because Vigilante has no F's to give. He's just going to kill them all. He don't care.
Yeah, he's there because he's worried what's happening with Peacemaker. Like I said last week, I've got this feeling like there may be more to his thing with the Peacemaker, if you know what I mean. Like, I actually think that he might have a weird brotherly love sort of thing with the Peacemaker, as in it will come across obviously homosexual, but I don't think it's anything to do with that. I think it's more of a
Brotherly
sort
sort
of
of
person who's ever cared for me sort of thing, like, you know, like a fatherly sort of figure or brotherly sort of figure. I think that's where Vigilante, he's only focused on protecting his friend. He's not even understanding the stealth part of the mission that, say, Argos agents would understand, because he's just not used to that. He's just used to going in there all guns blazing and dealing with the situation. Whereas when he is hit with this dilemma of, can you actually do this? He's not seeing people like what Peacemaker's seeing, and more importantly, children. Because, and I know this, I've had friends, you've seen it in these documentaries and these things about soldiers, where they have this dilemma. You've got a 10-year-old child running across an open area with a bomb strapped to their body that's about to run into a building and explode that bomb, and you have to kill them, but you're still killing a 10-year-old child with a 50 caliber bullet that child has literal 0% survival rate. Yeah,
absolutely.
The morality in it, because it's not just being a cold-blooded killer for the army. There is an element of ethics involved in that, whether this is a terrorist or someone with a weapon, an AK-47 or a bomb or an RPG bazooka. It's still a 10-year-old child. They're innocent. They haven't lived the life yet. And if you're a 28-year-old man with down the barrel of a sniper rifle, and you get the kill, you get the, you have to kill him. To confirm that kill, your morality dies there and then, and it does, no matter who you are. It will die there and then.
To add to what you just said there, about Vigilante having this weird brotherly thing with Peacemaker, there's a great scene I thought where you see Goff, the judo master, he's like torturing Vigilante, and he says, "Oh, he's your friend, yeah. This is your boy, yeah." And Peacemaker's like, "He's not my boy. He's not my boy. Do what you want with him." And he starts torturing him and trying to get the information out of him. And there was that sick part where
it's quite dark. That does, like, I mean, the emotion side is one thing, but this got quite dark, like visibly dark, like as in brutally dark. This got very dark.
That one, yeah, that's the one. And he starts extracting his toe, or as Vigilante call it, his pinky.
Yeah. But then you've also got to look at that from the perspective of what I just said before. Has Vigilante got a different look towards Peacemaker than Peacemaker's got towards Vigilante? As in, is this an even partnership, or is this like a 75 to 25% I care about you, you care about me situation?
Yeah. That's what it seemed like to me watching that scene.
You understand the stealth side of it, don't you? You understand the stealth side where they're not going to give up the information, and they both understand the risk that they're taking. But man, you've got to be quite cold to sit there and watch your friend, best friend, probably only friend, in fact, yeah, only friend. I'm confirming that that Vigilante is Peacemaker's only friend. Yeah, and he's probably the only person who truly likes Peacemaker as well. But he still sat there and watched him get his balls and his toe tortured and all this kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. What was your thoughts on that scene, Chris?
Oh, you got to think, though, before that happened, though, when, Judo Master beats the crap out of him, so that's how they end up being down there. And on top of that, you got Amanda Waller's daughter who's conflicted. There's a security guard there, and, Harding's trying to tell him, you got to shoot him, you got to take it out. And I can't do it. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. And then she ends up, Harding goes shooting him, and then Amanda Waller's daughter's conflicted because she goes, I didn't want to shoot him. I don't think he was a butterfly. And she goes, well, you need to check him and test him. And then he goes, he wasn't a butterfly. And Harding's like, oh, okay, that's good. And then they're trying to go rescue him. Then one thing we're not even bringing up is that this is when Vigilante becomes unmasked, but we hadn't seen him without his mask on the first couple of episodes here. And then so you see him finally.
It's obvious that it's him, though. It's so obvious that it's him. He's just waiting there, isn't he? But yeah, carry on, Holiday.
So then it said he finally realized he was Adrian, and they're talking about that. He goes, aren't you the older brother? You play D&D and stuff like that. They're having this interaction about this stuff and debate about this stuff. And he goes, yeah. And then what I found interesting is like I said, they've had different versions of Vigilante as well, but this is the version they're using here for this show is the one that's from the New Titans that came out from the comic book series in 1981, where they introduced this character, this version of Vigilante. So that I found a little interesting when they finally revealed the name of who Vigilante actually was. And like I said, you have all the whole scenario here. He's getting his balls electrocuted, and they're going, "Oh, hurt him," and everything like that. "Oh, I'll never give up anything. He can take it. Oh, I'm never giving up anything." And he tells us, "Don't worry, I won't give up any information." He goes, "Why don't you just give him a little bit of information?"
Their chemistry is off the chain when it comes to comedy, like very,
Absolutely.
Very. Yeah, and they don't shy away from literally making jokes about the obvious things that you're going to be thinking when you're watching these segments. But to give a little, because last time I said about the daughter, Amanda Waller's daughter, she was bragging, wasn't she? Oh, I've killed people, I've shot people, I've done this. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was early in this episode or if it was late in the previous episode, but she went out of her way to try to tell Hardcore that she had killed people, that she's trained, she's a badass and all this. I told you she drew attention to herself. Also, we never spoke about this, me and you didn't, Warhawk, in the first episode. We spoke about her, but we didn't speak about she's clearly got some kind of either mental health issue, or it's a Asperger's, or some kind of autism where She can't stop her. She has to say what she's got to say, even though it might upset every single person in that room. Like, it's clearly obvious that you're getting hints that she may have said or done something in front of her mum, that's how her mum got control of her in the first place. But she was bragging to hardcore before, saying, oh, I've killed people, I've done this. And then the moment that she gets in that position, she is a liability to the rest of the team. Let's be honest. You shoot first, then ask questions after, in that position there. And there's 2 people in this team now that are starting to ask questions before they're shooting.
Yeah, which is and with Amanda Waller's team, that's not really the sort of job you do. You just you don't ask any questions.
Trained not to ask those questions. Shoot first, ask questions later. Yeah, they're all trained to do that. Even the technology guy is trained to take people out first, and then, because they understand what this job is. But at the same time, I think they're all starting to question this. Well, Amanda's not here right now, so why are we still bound to the same crap that we're bound to from before? She's not here. We don't have these things in our, we don't know. But as far as we're aware, they don't have those things in their head. So they haven't got that bargaining chip with them.
Well, as far as we know, they don't have the bombs in their head.
Well, that's what I mean, which is where Amanda Waller's evilness comes into it. What has she got on these people? We know that there's something with the daughter. Does she know does she know something about hardcore? Does she know something about Mern? Does she know something about Tech Guy? She must have something on each one of these characters. And let's be fair, at the moment that they let Vigilante in because they know he's either going to compromise their mission or they're going to they find out who he is. And I'll drop that spoiler. They even immediately find out who this guy is. It's not even like it's hard to find out who this guy is. They find out who he is. And when it comes down to it, it's like, it just goes to show you how, as soon as they see somebody who is willing to take certain risks, they will exploit them, no matter which character it is in this series or in this DC universe part of it. If they see that somebody has got any kind of skill, any kind of, where they haven't got that, they're lacking in passion, or they're quite evil, or they can be manipulated, or they've got a story where they've got a daughter or something like that, at home, that it's almost like this whole universe is built around control and manipulation and corruption within the control, within the manipulation. There's never just, yo, dude, can you do this for me, please? There's none of that. It's all forcing people to do things, making people think outside of the box, but at the same time making them think outside of the box. They're obviously making it so that we as the audience can't then say, well, why would John Cena do that? Because that's the only negative that I got from the last 2 episodes, was there is an element of, why would he be doing this for? But then at the same time, like, we know they've kind of got a little bit of control over him, especially with all the dad thing building as well now. They've got a little more control than I think that any character like the Peacemaker would want.
Definitely. No, you're absolutely spot on. Would you agree with that as well, Holiday?
I would agree with that. But you also got other things involved in this episode too, where you got, you see John and Mims talking for a little bit, and he's talking about, I'm trying to make up for the wrong things I've done, which you normally don't hear that in any kind of team that Amanda Waller has put together, which I found that interesting at that time too. But watching back the episode, he's talking about trying to have remorse for stuff and trying to be a better person. You don't hear that really out of Amanda Waller's teams very much either. But like you said, he keeps always referencing, I'm not like Amanda Waller, I'm not like Amanda Waller, I'm not like Amanda Waller. And, it's like, it was interesting that, they took them forever to get that bomb to work. They're trying to get the Peacemaker and Vigilante, trying to get the bomb to work.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't get the bomb to work. And then she licked the bomb, thinking that's how you do it, just like an envelope. Like, oh, you just take the sticky off, and then couldn't finally get the bomb to work after about 4 or 5 tries. And then they go, and that's when Peacemaker gets out, is able to get the kill finally, and then you finally realize here comes a creature that looks like a butterfly coming on out and flying on out of the guy's head. It's like, and they're both him and Vigilante, both looking like, what in the heck? And Vigilante's like going, but before that happens, Vigilante's like, please put my mask back on. I don't want everybody else knowing who I am. Put my mask back on. Put my mask back on. It's just like, what the heck is going on here? But I think the funniest thing is, you got Judo Master who's beating the crap out of everybody. And then he gets told, hey, you need to go tell the others what's going on. You need to leave, go through the tunnels. And then Mims had already told John, hey, man, you need to make sure nobody gets out. And he's like, fuck, fuck, fuck. And he's screaming about it. Then he sees Judo Master driving, so he ends up ramming the van into Judo Master's car. Then Judo Master gets out and starts crawling. He goes, please stop, boom. Will you please stop, boom. Will you stop it, boom, boom. But you're beating the crap out of Judo Master.
Yeah, like
Again,
he really shows up, doesn't he? The tech guy really shows up. Like, he's just like, I don't really know how to explain the way that his thinking is, but it's definitely from the perspective of, can we take the weakest character and make him deep down the most, evil? Like, because when he switches, when the tech guy switches, his mind is something unthinkable. Let's be honest. The fact that he locked up John Cena's dad, that should have been a hint. What is
he's
this
definitely
guy?
Got a dark side to him, 100%.
He's definitely got a dark side where he's got that Amanda Waller thing in him, where he's clearly been corrupted by Amanda Waller with this thinking of, even if I know this is wrong, I'm still going to push this button right now.
Absolutely.
It's for the better of me and whoever else is around me. I'll say this though, it's the act now, and I do like that about him. It's the act now and then question yourself after by staring at your blood-stained hands and saying, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? Whereas in most situations, this guy's going to probably crap his pants in most situations.
He definitely seems like the type, that the tech guy you're talking about. He definitely seems like the guy. He's the one who could probably turn on all of them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's unhinged. And I'd say that if they were to discover that there's certain things going on behind the scenes of Amanda, he could be the Peacemaker of this series from the film, if you know what I mean, the double agent.
Yeah, he could be the one who turns.
She's there giving information to Amanda Waller, and she thinks she's the only one, when in reality, I think that he could be feeding information about her to Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Amanda's got to have eyes in every corner of this operation.
Oh, she has to be. I mean, we've only seen Amanda Waller officially once in this series so far, but she's there behind the scenes throughout. You know it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. Another funny moment, alluding to what Holiday was saying earlier, when they were trying to get the bomb working, and Mern was like trying to get to Peacemaker and Vigilante. It definitely felt like a Looney Tunes moment. It's like, damn it, this bomb won't work, and then it just blows up. Goes, oh, finally it works. It definitely felt quite cartoony.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do it very well in the Flash and the Arrow series. I know that, once again, we have to go back to the CW series. I thought that the comedy in those series was detrimental to what the outlay of the actual episodes were.
Yeah,
but I think they showed you in this series right from the very start, this is going to be a mixture of really dark humor, light humor, and actual dark and light behavior, as in you might get some decent heroism and decent hero stuff, but at the same time, a lot of it is really deep emotional, questionable behavior that anyone with any sort of brain and any sort of conscience would immediately say, right, is this right? You know what I mean? It's what we're doing right now. But the way that these people are trained, the way that these people are, the way, for instance, even you get a bit of more of a look into John Cena's past and stuff like that, and it's or Peacemaker's past, and it's you can clearly see this guy from when he was a kid was just not set out to be this character that he is. Whatever, he must be dealing with the most amount of, who am I? Identity crisis, a crazy, overwhelming identity crisis, in fact.
Definitely. That's the thing about this series I've noticed, is that it can just turn at a blink of an eye, like a light switch. It's 1 minute everything's ha funny, and the next thing you know, things get real. It's wow, did that just happen? Did that really just happen? That's what I like about this show, and I think you guys can agree that it can just switch just like that.
Yeah, it goes real dark, and then John Cena will just throw out a line. Like I said last week about the whole, even though it was quite funny because to see him acting and crying and stuff like that, with the self-doubt and when he's calling himself names and stuff like that, it was also, they switched from that really deep emotional but still funny moment to the hilarious. I know you've got your dick out. I know you. They quickly did that, and it left you where you took away the emotional side to it, but you also took away the comedic side. And this is obviously in that episode. That's where you first got introduced to Vigilante. So
Yeah.
you realized immediately, oh, these two have got more of a, like, he must trust this kid to even speak about something so casually about turning around, and the guy's got his dick out. And he also says, I'm gonna turn around, you rock hard, and then you're gonna let it all over me. Like that, he actually says that to him, yeah. And the funny part about that is you have to be, and as a man, I have to question, in what circumstances would I, as a man, say that to any other human being, especially a male? Yeah, you gotta be real that person. Maybe that's how the boys over there. Maybe that's how the boys over there behave with each other. But I
don't think so. I don't think so.
Walking into a room and my mates like pretending. I can understand the guy doing it with a girl.
Yeah,
but I can't understand. But they put it in this series to show people at home these two have got a weird, strong bond, but at the same time, they are both dealing with this identity image crisis, which technically makes these two insane, batshit insane at times.
Absolutely. I love that. I think I love them. I love it every time like these two are together, especially in this episode in particular. It's just gold. It's just pure gold.
They know what they're doing.
Of course.
This has definitely got the like cop and a half vibe to it. Like Cena's got more, his character's more fleshed out. Vigilante is just this raw, and like when he says sidekick at the start, and you think he's gonna go for Vigilante and get Vigilante, but he doesn't refer to Vigilante as his sidekick. He refers to Vigilante basically as just his friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eagerly is his sidekick, but we all know deep down that Vigilante is his sidekick, and it obviously, you know, going back to what you were saying before about, I think Vigilante gets jealous. I think he doesn't want Peacemaker to have other friends outside of him, like, because he's a loser in real life, and his only friend is Peacemaker. So Peacemaker's only friend is Vigilante. So Vigilante's took that to the next level, which is there's quite a jealous vibe going off. Like I do get the really strong buddy cop, but I also get the chance that down the line, and I haven't seen anything like this, so it's not a spoiler, I'm just going to just speculate and say there is a chance that down the line that his, you know, the selfish and you know, paranoid side to Vigilante will come out. We've not truly seen any major signs of that yet, but I would say that part and parcel with a guy being so close to his friend would then come the jealousy part of it, in case, you know, maybe Peacemaker starts developing a friendship with like Myrn or one of the other characters in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I think we could see that if it ends up being Peacemaker, Hardigan end up being getting in a romantic relationship, if that's how they end up going in that route, then I could see it where Vigilante goes and he just goes apeshit, batshit crazy over that, because he's like, no, I'm supposed to be your friend, not her. What the hell, you know.
That's why this chemistry works as well, because earlier in the review, I was going to mention and forgot until now to say, are we going to talk about where they're at the last moment at the end of the program before Vigilante takes the sniper rifle? There are those moments between Hardcore and Peacemaker where you can see that she sees that there is a human being inside. Like, she's been seeing him as just like the Amanda Waller, as an exposable villain or whatever, whereas inside of the Peacemaker there is
a good person.
There is a good person, and I think she also gets that vibe where she sees that he's trying to make up for the, you know, the jock behavior in the first episode where he just basically tries to bang her. Like, even though she does give off that vibe that you'd probably have a better chance banging her by just getting your cock out and saying, yo, do you want to go, than you would if you're trying to eat, because she's so, let's be honest, she's so fiery, she'd put off a normal man, wouldn't she? She'd put off a normal man.
Even when you see her,
she would emasculate them, like the way that she is. But I think that she gives off that vibe in this, like, she's a lot more softer, and there's things inside of her that are broken. And you can clearly see that John Cena's character is dealing with that as well. And that's where, I'm not suggesting it will turn immediately into some kind of love thing, but you can see that they gave that subtle connection so that these two might actually end up in the end, actually falling in love or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Justifiably or whatever.
There's definitely chemistry there, 100%. You can see it.
Well, she never turned him down on the basis that he was ugly or she didn't fancy him. She told him that he was good looking in the first episode. It's just the way he inappropriately, after she'd already beat up the guy who was trying to act like a badass. She'd already just beat him up. She was clearly frustrated. She knew that John Cena had followed her. He'd been caught, and he went into self-destruct mode. I think the positive here is that he, because of his paranoia, he'll try to make himself, appeal to her. So with him trying to appeal to her, he gets real in this last segment, and he starts talking about what he's not really into, which is, of course, the killing of the children. And she sees then that he's got more of a human side to him.
Well, I mean, in this episode, Holiday, I mean, you definitely see there's more chemistry with Harcourt and Peacemaker. And, as what Rex said, that you can definitely see as this episode goes along that she knows that deep down, this goofy guy, he's actually a good person. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think she could see that, but like I said, she's one of those people that isn't going to pull her punches or anything. She's not going to cut through all the bullshit with everybody. And I mean, you saw that earlier in the episode too, when you saw her yelling at Amanda Waller's daughter, like going, you got to kill them on it. Like, she don't hold her punches, and she's not going to hold her punches with anybody. And she damn sure doesn't do it with Peacemaker. Yeah, I said, and like I said, because I feel like for her and the tech guy John, if you remember seeing the end credit scene for the Suicide Squad, this is their punishment for what happened with the ending of the Suicide Squad, and this is their punishment. They had to deal with Peacemaker, and that's what. And I think you can see some of that during the series that she feels like this is a punishment she's having to deal with him right now because of what happened with the movie and the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing with Harcourt, she probably does fancy Peacemaker to a point, but for her, it's job comes first, the mission comes first. And I think, as you said before, she gives off that vibe, like, yeah, I like you, but I'm still going to do my job and you need to do yours too. Because I think with her, when it comes down to it, if she had to choose her job or him, I think she would probably choose her job over him, because the job seems much more important to her than Peacemaker at this present time as we go along this series. Wouldn't you think?
Oh yeah, like I said, this series continues. It's like I said, you're starting to see the developing relationships with all these people as we're getting further along into the season. So it's gonna be interesting, especially like I said, we were reviewing episode 3 right now. We got 3 more episodes that are already out to talk about, and then like I said, you got 2 more episodes for the series is over. There's a lot going on in this show that we haven't even scratched the surface of yet as we keep going towards further into the episodes. There's just a lot more stuff going on that even Peacemaker realizes what's going on.
I like obviously we're going to talk about how the ending, because alluding to what Rex said earlier, after they take out Judo Master, we see the butterfly creature emerge from his body and then fly up, and then you get that really cool scene, which is definitely something you would have seen on the big screen in after credits scene. You see on the Argos computer, you see how many butterflies there actually is in the world, and there's thousands of them. I thought that was a real proper, like, oh my god moments of like, is that how many there actually is? I mean, what do you think, Rex, of the way this episode ended?
I think the episode ended the same way that the previous episode ended. It ended with enough for you to say, right, I'm definitely going to watch the next episode. The way that the episode ended was better than the first episode. I'll say that for a fact. To this day, I'm still questioning what they actually put out for the end of the first episode. This was the first time that I'd seen an ending to the program where I thought this makes sense as an ending. There was so much to question. There was so much to look at. You couldn't just end the episode and say, that doesn't matter. I can overlook that and wait till next week. There was just so much of the answers to the questions that any person watching this with their own mind would be able to ask and say, well, what are butterflies? What is this? What is that? What is the other? This gave you enough of an answering of certain questions and also left you with enough questions to go straight into the next episode. And that's what I assume you guys both did that, because that's exactly what I did. I went immediately into the next episode because of the questions that my mind was asking me at the time.
Yeah, I would definitely agree as well. As you said before, once the episode ended, you're like thinking, yeah, I'm definitely on board for this 100%, and I'm going to see it right to the very end because it was that good. There's no going back.
Then they always have that end credit scene after all the credits, and they have this time around they have it where it's Vigilante and Harkin arguing with each other, like going, "I will kill you if you screw this mission." Well, why is it my fault? You could tell, like, watching some of these end credit scenes, like, are they foreshadowing certain things that happen in the future? Because, like I said, you see them two bickering already about, if you screw this mission up, I will kill you. What, me? I'm gonna kill you? It's just like one of those things, like, could they be foreshadowing certain things? I think the end credit scenes are actually kind of like a little bit, they are funny to a certain extent, but they also, like, clue you in on something you might have missed in the show, or they extend something out a little bit.
Yeah. We got an appearance in this episode of the family of the husband and wife either, did we?
Oh, is that the one where they were outside the family's house and they turned out to be butterflies?
No, yeah. I mean, the couple that John Cena robbed their house and tied them up. We don't get an appearance from them in this episode.
No, we don't.
Like, we don't get any follow up on them. Like, I thought that at this point, and I will say this, I thought that they were going to be in every episode from there. I thought they were going to be the go-to two people, as in, like, they might start to use their apartment, or they might, I thought that those two were going to be a lot more used in this.
No, they weren't. No, that was it. That was pretty much done and dusted with those two.
I thought that they were going to be used a bit more, to be honest.
Yeah, so did I. I fully expected the wife to be back in this episode because she's supposed to have done the deed with Vigilante and Peacemaker. So I thought there would have been at least a follow-up scene to that, if not at the beginning, at least in the after-credit scene. But no, didn't get anything from that.
Yeah, which is more evidence of what I said last week. We needed the definitive hand on head pushing down, certain things about what just took place in the scene, because the fact of the matter is, we didn't get enough information at the time to, like I said, common sense to an adult would be, oh, well, no woman's going to be in bed with another man without there being something going on. But then at the same time, even if that is common sense, because we didn't get a follow-up in this episode or any evidence to suggest that there was something untoward there. And there's also things going on in this episode between Vigilante and Peacemaker that wouldn't exactly say to me that these guys both just had a three-way with a woman in the previous days leading up to this event. Do you know where I'm coming from? Like, there are some moments in this episode of Peacemaker that it's not negative. It was a great episode, but there are episodes in this. There are moments in this where Vigilante and Peacemaker, no, I won't even say dissension. I'd just say they have a little bit of a there's questions asked between each other. And at the same time that those questions are asked about each other, there aren't any more developing situations like we got in the previous episode. So, it would have been nice to have seen maybe them just had a random scene with the wife of the guy or whatever. Does anyone understand what I mean? Like, it would have
totally.
I agree, because the only thing they reference is they talk about in the beginning of the episode about the well, what did you do with the ship that you found of the butterflies? What did you do with the ship? Well, I put it under Amanda Waller's daughter's under all this other paperwork, and that's all you really get reference about the ship. That's the only thing they even brought up about the ship they found at the end of episode 2 was just at the very beginning, and that was it.
Yeah, that's all you get really from as far as anything as a follow-up. That's it really. Shame.
There were, I mean, there was enough. There was enough. Let's be fair. There was enough because this is where, like I said, in the first episode, there were things that I was questioning, as in, are we trying to watch the next episode, or are we trying to get people to watch the series? That was my worry in the first episode. Like, is this just going to be one of them things that build to the next episode? But by this episode, I think that you can clearly see that this is the point. Like last week and in this episode, I knew, right, I'm coming back each week. They've got enough investment now where they will get me to keep coming back.
Totally.
Either way, they'll get me to keep coming back, even if I know after a few weeks that this program's really gone downhill.
No, I don't see it going downhill. If it was going to go downhill, it would have been by episode 3 at least. But
Yeah,
that's
exactly what I thought. I thought by now this would have dramatically started to go downhill.
Absolutely.
Already. Because they can't, as we spoke about, as I heard you speak about on your Legends of Tomorrow thing, like, it's obvious that these programs, it's 1 in 3. 1 episode in 3 episodes will be good, yeah? Whereas with the Peacemaker series, it's quite obvious that we're already getting 2-3 episodes that are good. And I actually think that these are not the best episodes, guys. I think that we're going to get better episodes as the season goes on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can definitely see us getting better. Do you think so too, Holiday?
Yeah, I think as the show continues and you start getting explained a little bit more and seeing more of what's really going on is when everything starts getting better. Because like I said, Peacemaker's character just now found out what a butterfly was, just now found out what it was. And so now it's going to be more interesting to see what he takes with that information going further into the series. And it's going to be interesting. Like I said, there's already been 6 episodes, and you got 2 more left, and there's just so much to talk about with this show without going into further episodes. But with this episode, like I said, I think they did a really good job. It hasn't been like a slow down pace really. It's been from the first 5 minutes of episode 1 all the way till we get to episode 3. It's just been going, information.
Definitely agree with that. So that is going to be it from us. We are now going to wrap this up now. What did you think of episode 3? Did you enjoy it? What was your thoughts on Judo Master torturing Vigilante and finally learning about Vigilante's secret identity? What about the way this episode ended with thousands of butterflies all around the world? Where do you think this is going to lead to? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and we will be back next time for another edition of the Peacemaker Season 1 review series, where we are going to be talking about episode 4. So make sure you don't miss that. So until next time, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening. Holiday Christopher Mace, Rex DeBoss 11, Warhawk Beyond 2040. Great having you guys here, and we'll do this again next time.
Yeah, I want to give it a 10 out of 10.
Definitely. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
So we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
See you guys next time. Peace out.
Have a good one, y'all.